Hi everyone, it's Blake again with Northwinds Wilderness School. Welcome back to another one of our talks, whatever you want to call it. I'm really excited today because I'm coming to you from a really special and really amazing place. I can't tell you too much about it yet. We're still in the works, but I'm very excited about where we are right now, and I promise you're all going to hear about it very soon. Recently, a friend of mine who runs an organization called Command Z invited me to speak at a summit that he's organizing. And the summit is on extreme mental health. And being asked to do that has gotten me thinking a lot. I feel like it's kind of a big responsibility to put yourself in a public forum to speak on such an important topic. I mean, in the 21st century, we all deal with anxiety and stress. Some people think it's culturally induced. Some people think it's poor nutrition. Some people think it's screen time and social media. I say, why not all of it? I mean, I think all of that causes undue stress and anxiety in our lives. And really, what I believe is causing the anxiety that is plaguing so many people is simply a lack of nature. We're not spending enough time outside. We're not eating food that's natural. We're not moving our bodies in natural ways. And we're not having natural relationships with our communities. So that the lack of nature is really what I think is causing these stress and anxiety disorders. And, I have personal experience dealing with anxiety, both in other members of my family and also myself. When I was younger, I had crushing social anxiety. I wouldn't go to parties unless I was high or drunk, and even then, I would find a place to sit where I could just get high and drunk by myself, but people would know that I was at the party. And, once you take the drugs and the alcohol out of it, which I haven't done drugs in a very long time, even still, I struggle with it. I can talk to people as a teacher because there's a clearly defined role. I'm here to teach, you're here to listen, you're here to learn, we're going to work together with this dynamic. Or, in a professional situation where I'm dealing with someone who is providing me a service, I know how to deal with that because there are established roles. But even now, at the age of 40, if I go to a party, I struggle with social anxiety around who should I be talking to, how much should I be talking to them, should I be mingling or spending all of my time with one person? And these questions that sort of plague me. And I know I'm not the only one. I know that a lot of you out there struggle with these anxieties, whether it be social or professional. So what I'm going to offer you today is 10 tips for managing your anxiety without drugs. Adding more drugs into it is just going to fuel the problem. If we're talking lack of nature, drugs are completely outside of nature. So what we're talking about here are things that you can do on your own that can manage your anxiety, that can help you lower your stress levels, and that can help you get to a more comfortable, more natural pace of life. So the first thing that I want to talk about is called catastrophizing. But before I get into this, I just want to mention really quickly, I'm not a doctor. I'm not advising you to stop taking your psych drugs or your daily medications. Please, if you're on medications and you're planning on stopping, take it. Consult with someone who has far more understanding about that stuff than I do. I'm here to give you things that you can do in your life to help reduce your stress and anxiety. I'm not here to make anyone sick or cause any trouble. So please, like I said, if you're on drugs, talk to someone else before you stop taking them. But catastrophizing is sort of this idea of carrying your fear or scenario out to the worst possible case. And in some instances, this is going to seem weird, but I'm going to kind of talk you through it a little bit. So let's just go right to the big one. My wife is an hour late getting home from work. I'm starting to get nervous and anxious about where she is, what might be going on. She's usually always on time. Obviously, she's dead. That's right where my mind goes, and I'm guessing for a lot of you in this scenario, that would be right where your mind would go. They're obviously dead. Worst case scenario. When I was, I think maybe 6 years old, I think I was in first grade, we lived in Los Angeles for a year. And one day there was an earthquake, as there are in Southern California. And on that day, my dad was an hour late getting home from work. And my little 6-year-old brain went immediately to fault line opened up, dad fell in fault line, melted in the center of the earth. At 6 years old, I was already in that place. When we carry our fears out to the worst possible consequence, we can start to see how unlikely these scenarios are, and in many cases, how ridiculous our anxiety is, and we can start to work from there back to the current situation. Let's leave this idea of a dead spouse behind for a minute. We'll come back to it. But let's talk about a more realistic situation. You're on your way to work. Your commute is normally a half hour. Traffic is terrible today and you're 45 minutes in, and now you start working yourself up. Your heart rate starts going up. You start sweating out of your armpits and maybe out of your feet. You start to get really nervous about, well, I'm going to be late for work. So let's carry that out. What's the worst possible thing that can happen? You're an hour late for work, let's say. If you show up to work an hour late and you tell your boss that you were stuck in traffic and they fire you, you need a different job anyways. Most likely what's going to happen is you're going to get to work and they're going to be like, where were you? You know, we live in a world where there's cell phones. You can call your boss and say, hey, I'm stuck in traffic. I'll get there as soon as I can. You know you left yourself enough time for your commute, but something happened. There was a car crash or, someone spilled a soda on the road, so everyone slowed down to 20 miles an hour. Weird things happen in traffic. Most likely when you get to work, everything's going to be fine. Your boss will say, where were you? You'll say, I'm stuck in traffic. And they'll say, well, don't do it again. Get to work. And life moves on. You're fine. But by carrying it out to the worst possible consequence, saying, well, I'm going to get fired, you're now opening yourself up to some new possibilities. You can say, if my boss is going to fire me for being an hour late because I was stuck in traffic, is this really a job I want to have? Maybe this is an opportunity for you to look for a better job. Or you can realize, well, I'm probably only going to be 5 minutes late. It's probably not going to be an hour. So this idea of carrying things out to the worst possible outcome. Let's go back to my original scenario. My wife is an hour late coming home from work. Obviously, she's dead. If you're really, really convinced that something happened, you can call the highway patrol, you can call a local sheriff or local hospital and check on them. But I think that before you get to that point, you're going to realize the odds that something like a fatal accident have happened are pretty slim. Most likely, she stopped to get groceries and gas on the way home, and I just didn't know that was happening. Or most likely, we didn't communicate properly, and there was a reason she was going to be late. When you do this exercise, it really gives you an opportunity to analyze your situation and understand that most likely these worst case scenarios are not really what's happening. I know that my wife and I both do this a lot, whether it's intentional or not, where we'll go right to worst possible case scenario as our first option. And it has, at least for me, I won't speak for anyone else, really opened up the opportunity for me to see how kind of almost comical some of my fears are. So, number one is catastrophizing. So number two is movement. When I say movement, I don't just mean exercising. Going to the gym and exercising for an hour a day is fine. It's whatever. Depending on who you believe, some people say it's awesome. Some people say that it's maybe not that great for you. My question for you is, if you're going to the gym and exercising for an hour a day, what are you doing with the other 23 hours? When you have a very intentional attitude towards your movement, this whole idea of I'm going to go work out for an hour a day starts to become irrelevant. You should be sleeping probably 7 to 9 hours a night. We're going to talk about that in a little while. But what I mean with intentional movement is, for instance, foraging. when you're foraging, you're walking through the woods, you're stepping over sticks and branches and walking around holes in trees, and you're crouching down and you're squatting and you're reaching and you're bending. And these are all movements that you're doing maybe over an extended course of several hours. When you're doing things like foraging, the idea of sitting on the couch watching TV or going to the gym for an hour start, in my own mind, to become out of place in your life. You don't have time to keep up with every episode of every show on TV if your food comes from the wild, because you have to be out in the woods moving, doing those squatting and bending and reaching. When you are intentionally living your life, movement is sort of a byproduct. If you're outside playing with your children, you're running and you're climbing and you're swinging, and maybe you're punching a punching bag or you're wrestling on the ground with your kids. These are all movements that keep us mobile. They allow us flexibility in our joints, and it burns calories, it burns energy, and it shifts the hormonal balance in your body in such a way to allow you some clarity, to allow you to slow down and think about your situation rather than just reacting to it. I think a lot of times stress and anxiety are reactionary emotions. They're not well thought out. And when you're moving your body on a long-term, regular basis, it affords you the opportunity to think more clearly on any given situation, because you have burned off energy and you have rebalanced your hormones. So for anyone, I'm not talking about weight loss, I'm not talking about getting a six-pack, and I'm not talking about playing sports. I'm talking for every human being on the planet. This regular, intentional movement can help you reduce your stress, it can help you reduce your anxiety, and it's going to make you overall healthier. A few tips, some things that we have done are put our dishes and glasses in the bottom cupboard so that you have to squat down to get them. We also put our pans in a high cupboard, so you have to reach up to get the heaviest things we use. We took the frame out of our bed, so you have to get down into a squat to get on the bed and then stand up from a squat to get out of it. We have pillows and cushions on the floor in our house that we sit on. This creates forced range of motion. Anything you can do in your life to increase your movement, especially natural movements, is going to reduce your stress, it's going to reduce your anxiety, and it's going to make you healthier. That's a 2. Number 3 is meditation. This one is huge. I've talked about it a lot. I'm going to continue talking about it. I'm going to talk about meditation until the day I die, because it has had the most profound impact on my life and on my mindset and my headspace. When you can take even just 10 minutes a day and focus on being in the moment, everything else comes into a whole new perspective. I do 3 and sometimes 4 meditations a day. Again, you've heard me talk about this. I do a glow in the morning. I do a pendulum in the afternoon. I do a gratitude practice right before bed. And then throughout my day, I do what we call a 1-breath meditation. I've talked about this before, but I will really quick just run through it. This is how a 1-breath meditation works. And move on with your day. Just in case you missed that, you inhale for a count of 3 to 5, hold for a count of 3 to 5, exhale for a count of 3 to 5, focus all of your energy on that breath, and move on with your day. I use this a lot when I'm working at the hospital. We get into really high stress, really high activity situations, and just that stopping and taking a beat to inhale, hold, and exhale allows me to put a whole new perspective on the situation. If you take 10, 20, 30 minutes a day and do some form of meditation, It brings your focus in. It lets you be present in your own life and in your own headspace, and that will have a profound impact on your anxiety and your stress. I'm not going to spend a ton of time talking about meditation right now because I've done videos on it in the past. Other people have done videos. There are a ton of great videos out there. I will mention Rewild University has a video called Meditation, Push-Ups for Your Mind. It's a 10 or 20 minute introduction on how to meditate and what it does in your body. And Donda Pandey did a TED Talk on the power of mindfulness and meditation, and it's one of the best talks I've ever seen. If you can find a way to include meditation into your life, even if it's only once a day for 10 minutes, I promise you, profound impacts on your stress and anxiety. Tip number 4 is going to be to reduce your sugar intake. I realize that diet is a very contentious topic, and right now there's conflicting science. But I promise you, if you watch the science that's coming out, it's all telling us that sugar is poison. There was a doctor named Jason Fung who wrote a book called The Obesity Code and a book called The Complete Guide to Fasting. When he was asked how much sugar it's safe for a human being to consume, his response was, "You might as well be asking me how many cigarettes it's safe to smoke." Sugar is that bad. It spikes your insulin levels, which reduces your leptin levels. So as your insulin spikes, your body gains resistance to it, which lowers your leptin. And leptin is the hormone that tells you whether or not you're hungry. So having increased insulin and reduced leptin means you're more likely to overeat or eat out of stress or anxiety. I've done both. I'm pretty sure my wife has done both. I'm pretty sure most of you have done both. When you eat out of stress and anxiety, it spikes your insulin again. And the more your insulin spikes, the less sensitive you will be to it. And the less sensitive you are to insulin, the more likely you are to suffer from metabolic syndrome and any number of medical conditions that are caused by increased insulin, obviously diabetes, high blood pressure, kidney disease, eye disease, like a metabolic syndrome, which is sort of a combination of all these things. Also, sugar increases your cortisol, which is the stress hormone. Do you see how that might be an issue? When you reduce your sugar intake, you're reducing your cortisol, you're reducing your insulin, you're increasing your leptin, and you will likely sleep better at night due to an increase in natural melatonin production. Sugar is poison, but I'm not telling you can't have a piece of cake or a bowl of ice cream at your birthday. Obviously, I'm not in much of a place to be telling people what they should and shouldn't eat. All that I'm saying is if you want to reduce your stress and you want to reduce your anxiety, you need to lower your sugar intake. It's very bad for you in a plethora of ways, including raising your stress hormones. So please seriously consider finding a less sugary snack option and just see how it makes you feel. Number 5 is screen detoxing. This subject is going to cover a number of headings, but simply staring at a screen is at base level not good for you. Our minds get wrapped up in what's happening on our screen, and it closes us off to the outside world, which is literally the exact opposite of mindfulness. When you're on Facebook and you're scrolling, if you're getting likes and people are sharing your posts and you're getting attention on social media, it spikes your dopamine, which is exactly the same thing that cocaine does. When you then stop getting those likes or you aren't getting the attention on social media that you like, your dopamine levels drop and you'll go through withdrawal, very similar to when people quit doing cocaine. Also, social media is a huge cause of stress, anxiety, and suicide in our culture. And that is ridiculous. You're looking at something on a screen that is not real, and you're killing yourself about it. You know, when I was a kid, if you were bullied, you would go to school, there would be a bully there, it would suck, and then you go home and everything would be fine. Now the bullies are coming home with us. We've got access to the bullies 24/7, and we're doing it to ourselves by staring at screens, being on social media, and listening to what other people are saying rather than creating our own ideas. Also, there is some belief that the way social media and news on the internet is fed to us in these like 15 and 20-second increments is increasing anxiety, stress, and the likelihood of ADHD, because our brains aren't meant to work like that. Our brains are meant to focus on one task at a time and move from task to task. Multitasking is physiologically impossible. Your brain cannot do it. I don't care how good you think you are at multitasking, it's not possible. What you do is rapidly switch back and forth between tasks, which creates chemical imbalances in our brain because our brains are meant to focus on a task, then move to another task. Further, when you're watching the news in America, what are you seeing? You're seeing bad news after bad news after bad news after bad news. You know, there's a war here, someone got killed here, this politician did something, there was a car crash, there's 1 million cars being recalled. And when you're constantly flooding your brain with bad news, guess what you're doing? You're focusing on negativity, which is going to increase your stress and it's going to increase your anxiety. So I have 2 suggestions. Severely limit your screen time. Don't check your phone first thing in the morning. Don't watch TV last thing at night. And when you are having screen time, be mindful of what you're focusing on. There's a website called the Good News Network. I think it's www.goodnewsnetwork.com or maybe .org, I'm not sure, but if you Google it, it's there. That is a 24/7 news website that only reports good news. People helping each other, animals being rescued. It's a really cool website. And it is helpful to me to show that there are good things happening in this world, even though mostly all we see is negativity. So limit your screen time, be very mindful of what you are watching, and search out happy news or good news when you are on a screen. Number 6 is sleep more, sleep better. Unfortunately, we live in a culture that praises people for hard work and praises people for sacrifice. And a lot of people look at not getting enough sleep as a way of saying, like, yeah, I'm busy, I'm being productive, I don't have time to sleep. You need sleep. That is when your brain resets all of its hormones. It's when the chemical balance in your body resets. You need sleep. And most of us need a lot more than we're getting. I shoot for 10 hours a night. I usually get more like 8 or 9, but I shoot for 10. If you're getting at least 7, you're probably okay. If you're getting less than 7 hours of sleep, you are doing damage to your body. You're doing damage to your mind, to your mindset, and to your brain's ability to function properly. Sean Stevenson wrote a book called Sleep Smarter that I strongly recommend that you all read. It lays out the science of exactly what happens in your brain and in your body when you're not getting enough sleep or when you're not getting high enough quality sleep. In order to get better sleep, your whole life needs to be in balance. You need to eat right to get better sleep. You need to move right to get better sleep. You need to set your bedroom up as a sanctuary, a place that is meant for sleeping and sex and nothing else. You know, black out your windows, put some plants in there. You don't need decorations on the walls. You definitely don't need a TV in your bedroom. You know, if you have to use your phone as an alarm clock, put it face down on a table so that the screen isn't lighting up in the night. You want it dark, you want it cool, you want it comfortable. We like white noise. We sleep with a fan on every single night. Your cortisol, which is your stress hormone, releases into your body when you wake up in the morning, anytime you're doing hard physical activity or anytime you're under stress. If you aren't getting enough sleep, your body is releasing more cortisol to help keep you moving even though you're not rested. And that stress chemical is going to cause anxiety. It is going to cause stress. It's going to make you worry. it's going to make you unsure. If you're getting enough sleep, the melatonin counteracts the cortisol, and those two chemicals sort of balance each other out. And the sleep will reduce your anxiety. It'll allow you the opportunity to be more present in your own mind and in your own daily life. And it will make you feel better. It will make you a happier person. Give up on this whole, I only need 4 hours of sleep a night because I have things to do. There's more time in the day than you think there is. Give yourself the gift of enough sleep. Number 7 is gratitude practices. I know that we just talked about meditation a couple minutes ago, but gratitude practices are a little bit different. 2 of the meditations that I do in the day are actually practices of gratitude. The first one that I do every morning before I get out of bed, I try to get it in that space between when I wake up and when I open my eyes, is called a glow meditation. The glow meditation is a way to start your day off intentionally. It's a way to start your day off with gratitude and with mindfulness. So essentially what I do when I wake up, before I open my eyes, I'll take about 10 minutes. I don't time it. And I focus on something I'm grateful for. I'm very grateful for my home. I'm grateful that I have functioning vehicles. I'm grateful that I get to teach people mindfulness, primitive living skills, and nature connection as part of my living. And then my other job is literally saving people's lives. These are all things that I'm grateful for. I will also focus on something I love. Usually it's a member of my family, my wife, my daughter, my dad, whatever. Then I will focus on the idea of a sense of oneness. Oneness within my family and community, oneness with the natural world, and then oneness on a universal scale. Whatever your religion is, there's always some idea of everything being interconnected, and that's what I'm talking about when I say oneness. And then finally, I will spend a few minutes meditating on the idea of going forth into my day with a sense of wonder. A lot of us have the tendency to prejudge our day, or to assume we know what's going to happen in the day. You wake up, your alarm clock goes off, you're shocked out of sleep, you say, it's Monday, I have to go to work, this is going to suck. Brr. Your life is your time, is the days, is the minutes, is the hours. When you prejudge a day by saying this day is going to suck because of X, Y, and Z, you are giving up a part of your life by not allowing yourself a sense of wonder. Going forth in the sense of wonder, to me, means, I wonder what my drive is going to be like. Maybe it'll be awesome. Maybe I'll get to listen to a really good podcast or a really good book. What's work going to be like? It might be awesome. I might have great nurses I'm working with, great doctors I'm working with, great techs I'm working with, and I might get to have some really cool patient experience. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to go forth with my day with no assumptions. I don't expect anything from anybody, and I don't expect anything to happen. I just wonder how it's all going to go. And by doing that, you're leaving yourself open for life to happen. You are not trying to force your will on something that you have no control over. And when you try to force your will on something you have no control over, it is going to cause anxiety. By allowing the world to just happen, you have no reason to be stressed. You have no reason to be anxious because you can't do anything about it. The other gratitude practice that I do takes place at night after I've gotten into bed, but before I'm asleep, where I take, again, I don't time it, but around 10 minutes, and I try to reflect on all the things that happened during the previous day that I'm grateful for. Did I get to go fishing with my daughter? Did I get to have a private dinner with my wife? Whatever it is that happened in my day that I'm grateful for, I just spend some time reflecting on that. And what that does is it reminds me that I have a really cool life. I have a great family, I have a great home, I have a really good life. I don't need a bigger house, I don't need a fancier car, I don't need better clothes. What I need is experience and love that I can have all the time. And that doesn't come from other people. It comes from yourself. It comes from accepting who you are, from loving what you have, and from understanding that a lot of the things we focus on are really not important. I don't care how much money is in my bank account. I don't care if my car is 10 years old. Those things aren't important to anyone ever. No one. They're not important. If you're into that stuff, that's fine. You can be into whatever you want. Just understand that those are not worth stressing about because they're not important. I have things that I'm into that other people don't understand, and that's fine. But when it comes to anxiety, having anxiety because you don't have the right outfit or you don't have the right car, it's like self-imposed torture. You're taking a concept and you're making it into something that's so big when it's not. When you practice gratitude, it helps you understand these ideas. It helps you understand that your life is good. You have what you need. And you can let a lot of the anxiety around creating a life go because you already have one. Number 8 is personal challenges. There is some research that people who challenge themselves, who pursue learning new things or learning new activities, are less likely to suffer from anxiety, less likely to suffer from stress, and less likely to get Alzheimer's, and more likely to live longer. When you're constantly challenging yourself, when you're striving to grow or become a better or more well-rounded human being, you have a drive, you have a purpose, you have something that's keeping you going. And what that something is you wanting to be better, wanting to have a better life. And it's going to easily help you melt away your stress and anxiety by saying, I'm not learning things because I have to. I'm doing it because I want to. I'm not trying to be a better person because I have to. I'm doing it because I want to. I want to help change the world for the better. I want to help improve people's lives. I want to help improve wildlife habitat. Whatever your thing is, challenge yourself, learn a new language. I personally find it ridiculous that I live in America in the 21st century and I don't speak Spanish. It just seems silly to me. So that's something that actually my wife and I are planning on working on this year. There's also an idea, this again comes from my friend Kenton, called the Bowl of Challenges. We have this at our house. We don't do it as consistently as we should, but take a bunch of Post-it notes and write different challenges on there, like do the dishes standing on one foot, go 3 hours blindfolded, go 24 hours without speaking, do a 24-hour fast, do a 48-hour fast, spend a whole day playing with your kid, or a whole day just you and your spouse or significant other. And whenever you are in a place where you can do it, just pull one of those challenges out, open it up, and whatever it says on the paper, you do. But it only works if you commit to it. If you open it up and you say, oh, that one's too hard, I'm not going to do it, then the idea has completely lost its purpose. Challenging yourself creates reward, it creates drive, it creates positive energy, and it is the enemy of stress and anxiety. Go out, find a challenge, do it. Let me know how it goes. Tip number 9 is cultivate a relationship with nature. I would hope that at this point in our journey together through this YouTube channel that you would understand that this should be a given, but everybody can do more to cultivate a relationship with nature. There's more that I could do, and I spend a lot of time in nature. I mean, this is where I live. So a couple of tips are do something outside every day. Every single day, find the time to do an outdoor activity. Take your dog for a walk, go play frisbee with your kid, work in the garden, sit on a beach and look out at the water. Whatever it is, every day you should be getting outside to do something. Over a longer time period, say every week or every month or once a year, you should be doing more in-depth nature stuff. So What I do is every day I go outside, I either take my dog for a walk, or I play with my daughter, or I go foraging, or I go fishing, or I go hunting. I do something outdoors every day. At least once a week, we're going to try to get a deeper nature experience. Maybe go for a hike. Maybe go explore a forest we've never been in before. Maybe go check out a state park. Who knows? At least once a month, you should be doing something bigger. Go on a camping trip, or go on an all-day hike, or go spend a night in the woods without a tent. If you haven't done that, I suggest it. It's amazing. And then at least once a year, we try to do a big outdoor event, like go camping for a week or 2 weeks, or drive across the country and go to a primitive skills gathering in Montana or North Carolina. So constantly we're working on cultivating a deeper relationship with nature. There's also this idea called place-based education, which I have chosen to accept as part of my life. Place-based education is the idea that we're learning plants and animals where we live. We are using the environment that we live in to cultivate our relationship with nature. Rather than going to Costa Rica or Montana or Florida, I'm learning Minnesota and Wisconsin. That way, where you live every day, you know all the animals, you know the plants, you know the trees, you know the neighborhood. You're getting to know your neighbors, and you're creating a relationship. It's been proven so many times that spending time in nature reduces stress and anxiety. The more time you can spend, the more you'll start to realize that humans are animals, and animals are meant to be in nature. We're not meant to be in the city. Cities are toxic. We all have to go there. I have to go there. I work there. I lived there for a long time. But you need to be able to get out. Most likely, whatever city you live in has wild spaces nearby. In the Twin Cities, there are dozens of them. For more information on this subject, I strongly suggest you check out the book Last Child in the Woods by Richard Louv. It's a very, very important book, and it's mostly about children, but all of the information in it relates to adults as well. Nature deficit disorder is a real thing, and I believe that most of us have it. So do your best to cultivate a meaningful relationship with nature. Finally, number 10, I want to talk to you about alcohol. People drink to celebrate. People drink to mourn. People drink because it's Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever day it happens to be. People drink for all sorts of different reasons. But when it comes to stress and anxiety, a huge percentage of people turn to alcohol as a self-treatment. And I want to tell you, it's probably one of the worst decisions you can make. Alcohol is a natural depressant. It also throws all of your body's systems out of whack. It's bad for your heart, it's bad for your brain, it's bad for your kidneys, it's bad for your liver, it's bad for your stomach, it's bad for your mouth, it's bad for your throat, it's bad for your bladder, it's bad for your urinary system. Alcohol is bad for everything, and the only thing it's good for is celebrations. Turning to alcohol to treat your stress and anxiety is sort of like turning to combat to treat your fear of being shot. It's counterproductive isn't a strong enough word. I'm not going to tell you not to drink, but what I am going to say is think about it. Don't attempt to treat anxiety and stress with a substance that is going to cause anxiety and stress. When I was in my 20s, my brother used to always say, I drink to escape my problems, which are mostly caused by drinking. This is it's a real thing that a lot of people deal with. I want you to try giving it up for a while if you are a person who has issues with anxiety and also issues with alcohol. Try giving it up for a while. See if it helps. You'll sleep better at night. You'll be more productive during the day. You'll have more money in your bank account. Just try it. Alcohol causes anxiety. It doesn't treat it. There you go. All right. So here we go, guys. Catastrophizing, movement, meditation, reduce your sugar intake, screen detox, sleep more, sleep better, gratitude practices, personal challenges, screen detox, sleep more, sleep better, gratitude practices, personal challenges, alcohol, cultivate a relationship with nature. These are our 10 tips for managing your anxiety without medication. Now, there are a couple more things that I want to mention. Taking care of yourself, doing things that are for you will always help lower your stress and manage your anxiety. You know, if you're into cold showers, awesome, more power to you. We should talk about it. I also do cold showers, but a long hot bath is a pretty awesome thing. Taking some time to go sit down by the lake and just look at the water and reflect on your day is an awesome thing. You know, maybe you want to take yourself out for dinner sometime, just by yourself in a restaurant, get some good food. Whatever it is that you do to take care of you that serves no other purpose, I'm talking about you treating yourself, will always help lower your stress, manage your anxiety, and sort of keep you in the forefront of your own mind. Working on yourself is not selfish. Working on yourself makes it so that you are in the right place to help other people and to help make the world a better place. The other thing I want to mention, and this is crucial in my opinion, this is one of the biggest things that we work with our clients with: slow down. Our culture, our world makes everyone feel the need to move faster, move faster, move faster, move faster. Everything is faster. I want my TV faster. I want my food faster. The speed at which we live our lives is literally killing us. Our bodies aren't meant for this. The natural pace of human movement is about a quarter of what we're used to, of what we do in this modern life. And I'm going to encourage you to take the time to work on yourself, to slow down. Notice the flowers. Stop and look at the rabbits. Enjoy your life. We were not born to work 40 hours a week, pay bills, and die. And I want to make sure you are getting the most out of your life in the same way that I want to make sure that me, my wife, and my daughter are getting the most out of our lives. We're only here for a very short time. We need to learn to love ourselves, to love our lives, to become a part of nature again, and to live a stress and anxiety-free life. You deserve all of those things. If you have any questions or any experience with this, please leave us a comment, leave it on YouTube, leave it on Facebook, leave it somewhere so that we can have a conversation. If you found any value in this, please find a friend to share it with. As always, my name is Blake with Northwinds Wilderness School. I appreciate every second of your time. Thank you very much.